Magnus here, and I just like did a quick little setup here. I ran home. I just got home like a few moments ago from work. I've had a long day, and I've been checking my Twitter, and I'm like, this launch, PS4 launch trailer came out, and I'm like, I don't want to react to this or see it. First of all, I don't want to see it in a situation where I'm like half paying attention to it. I wanted to be fully engaged. But I also wanted to experience with you guys, so I'm like half paying attention to it anyway. So I didn't even schedule this, you know, live reaction or anything. So I don't know if anyone's on, and if anyone's on, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe if you like Shenmue content, especially Shenmue 3 and any other gaming content. I'm kind of full from dinner, but I'm about to react. So here we go. I'm going to give you my live thoughts and kind of go from there. So I'm about to start it. I'm excited, nervous. There's so much Shenmue content this week. It's unbearable. And before I start, I did want to say that I do not have an early release of Shenmue 3 or anything that came out recently, like where I've seen a couple of people get their hands on Shenmue 3. I have not seen any content on actual live gameplay of the actual game, besides some screenshots, which I talked about yesterday. And none of that. I just have experienced Shenmue 3 as all of us have, and probably even less, because I want no spoilers until the game actually comes out. And from then I'm going to pretty much live stream it and then kind of go from there. But without further ado, and I'm only delaying because I'm nervous and I'm seeing who else would be here. I'm sure most of you guys have probably... I've seen it, but I haven't. Welcome everyone who's watching. I'm about to experience this last, what I'm assuming is the final trailer before the game actually comes out. The trailer is great. You think I'll like it? Great. Good. Here we go. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to watch the trailer first, and then I'll just kind of give my live reaction to it, play it one more time, and then kind of go from there. Here we go. Now, my mouth is quiet. Yes, it did. No, they don't.
Phoenix Mirror. How did you get this?
My father left it for me. It's what brought me to this village.
Tell me about where you were born.
You want to know about Yakuza?
Yes, I want to see what Japan is like. Leo, it's morning.
You got the wrong guy.
Please let me know.
I'd rather not get you involved.
Still, you did good, man.
I don't want to hear it.
Honestly, I don't think your kung fu is strong enough.
The Shenmue tree's blossoms are beautiful.
Indeed. They're in full bloom though, so the petals will start dropping soon.
That's a shame. I just want to know why these mirrors were worth killing my father over.
But people are looking for it anyway, continuing the cycle of pain.
Here we go.
Lefty.
Fight me! I will avenge my father!
That's Bailu Village. Leo, I want to hear more about you.
Um, I I'm almost speechless actually, but I'm also super excited. The beginning of this trailer was an amazing tribute to everyone who's been waiting for so long since the cave. I loved that. And then it kind of shared a little bit more of the story that we haven't seen before. And it's just, we've got so much to unveil, so much to unravel. My live stream was a little bit laggy. I think it was also the video. I apologize for that if that's the case. But let me kind of go on from the video and I'll kind of slow it down from there. I apologize if there was any lag. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to reduce the volume a little bit and see if we can just kind of play it from the beginning. I'll reduce the volume so I could just see it visually and then kind of go from there. Okay, so this part of the trailer had a lot of just moments that we've kind of seen before, some we haven't, but it's kind of just getting you that nostalgic feeling of, you know what, we're taking it right from here, right from what you remember 18 years ago. And then it just gets right into story on how, talking about the merit, but it's not unveiling anything. However, this woman, and I think I've talked about this before, this woman in particular that Ryo's talking to knows, in my opinion, and these are only theories, but she knows Iwao. She knows Ryo's father. And I believe she knows what happened between Ryo's father and Landi's father. And a little bit of the backstory of that. What's up, Tyler Thunder? Saying hi. And I think that backstory is going to at least reveal itself, maybe a little bit more in this version. And that's probably what she's talking to him about. So, what's up, Legend? And nice to see you, and thank you for joining this live stream. Again, this part in particular is kind of intriguing too, because it's dealing with a little bit more of Shenmue's relationship with Ryo and learning so much about Japan. Now, if you remember in Shenmue 2, if you played Shenmue 2, they had a long dialogue before they got to Bailu Village, talking about everything that Japan has and had to offer. And then she expressed on her life in Bailu Village and basically in Guilin and how she was raised and how different it is. And I think it's opened up her curiosity to knowing how Japan is and what his life is, which is so awesome. I don't know what this part is about or what this has to happen where this woman is attacking Ryo, but I think it has to do probably with that affinity system on, again, theorizing, but that affinity system on how Ryo's not to be trusted and he's kind of a stranger. Maybe this woman is a little bit frustrated with him and he's like, just kind of like, calm down. So she's frustrated. It seems right here like whoever ravaged their town, because obviously their town was ravaged for one of the mirrors, everyone's in shock or dealing with the fact that they've got some intruders in that village that have attacked that village, and no one's trusting anybody. Perhaps that's why they're not trusting Ryo in the beginning of Shenmue 3. And this is another one of the villagers that's not trusting Ryo. And my reaction to this is possibly that she's attacking Ryo because she thinks he's an out-of-towner. Maybe he was one of the ones that attacked him. And maybe after Ryo's done some convincing, he knows martial arts, and it's not me who did it, I'm on your side, maybe she's eager to be like, please teach me how to defend myself. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. So Tyler's really excited. Legend End. I really like what they've done with Shenhua. She looks adorable and innocent, just like in the Shenmue 2. That's great. Yeah, I do actually like the models of Shenmue 3, to be totally honest.
I'd rather not get you involved.
So here we go.
You did good, man.
I don't want to hear it.
This back and forth between Rio and Ren is kind of brings you back to their back and forth that they used to have in Shenmue 2, where he's always kind of after his own thing, and Rio never really gave Ren that much appreciation or attention. He would kind of brush him off, but at the same time they need each other and they kind of feed off of each other. So I like the fact that they showed a little bit more of that in this trailer.
Honestly, I don't think your kung fu is strong enough.
Again, footage of this trainer, which we've seen a ton of times. Once again, I don't think your kung fu is strong enough, and kind of going with that. So
The Shenmue tree's blossoms are beautiful.
Indeed. They're in full bloom though, so the petals will start dropping soon.
the Shenmue tree in its full glory. This is just an amazing sight to see nowadays when you compare it to what we used to have in the Dreamcast era and then with the early Xbox era. To just see the pretty much the reason that we're all here and all appreciating this franchise, the actual Shenmue tree, and that its leaves are going to start falling soon, or Shenhua's are going to start falling soon, because that's why she was named Shenhua, is another just amazing experience that we're getting a much better game than we possibly could have gotten 18 years ago. So in a sense, you appreciate it. So
That's a shame. I just want to know why.
now that what we just saw with this character laughing.
I just want to
Wait,
know
hang
why
on,
these
I'm gonna
people-
bring it back a little bit. What is this burning? Perhaps she's the one. Maybe this is an early scene of Nielsen, actually. Thank you. I forgot her name for a second. But perhaps this is Nielsen actually attacking. Maybe she was the one who sent the attack on the village. And this is her kind of laughing about it after all of that destruction. She could be behind everything that's going on from the get-go. Again, I'm firmly believing that Lan Di is not really going to be seen too much in this game. But that's just kind of my skepticism, and I think that she's going to be the protagonist. Not the protagonist, excuse me, the antagonist of this game. So, and I think that's what that's about. And then she's just kind of like one who's just going to pretty much dictate things as they go on throughout the game.
I just want to know why.
And
these
this is
mirrors were working
the
on
main
my
henchman
shoulder.
of the game.
Like people are
Now, one thing I was kind of looking for, and I'm pausing this a lot, I was looking for shadows. For some reason, I almost feel like there's a little bit detail in the shadows that's missing when it comes to the floor or the lighting of this particular scene. It looks somewhat flat, and perhaps that's only me, and it's not a strong criticism that I'm trying to give the game. But it's just something that I'm just kind of noticing, like, the lighting seems to be a bit off. I don't know how finalized this one trailer was, or how early in the game they got this, or maybe it is final. But regardless, it's still very interesting as to what's going on. But it looked a little bit like some lighting details seem to be missing. So Yang93, who is Nielsen? Please help. Nielsen, as far as I know, is one of the 4 members of the Chiyu-men, of the 4 leaders. Lan Di being one of them, Nielsen being another one of them. But backstory, anything else, I'm not really sure. So we'll find out in this game, I'm sure. So moving on. This kind of caught my eye. Like let me just stop it right here. Are they training with each other? Are they fighting? Because it almost looks like he's not attacking him. He's just kind of standing there. Or are they actually in combat? I'm not sure. But it almost looked like to me like, what's going on here? I don't know. And we'll have to wait for the game to be released before we can see what's going on.
Here we go.
This part seems very off. This part to me always seems like a dream sequence where they're kicking down a door, they both go in a room and it's like, fight me, and then you see Londi just kind of stand there in silence, almost like ready to face Rio. It just seems to me like it could potentially be a dream sequence, and that's how, every time I've seen that scene, I'm like, something seems off. Like it's not actually happening. Like why would that happen? I love this part too. Definitely love that part where I will avenge my father.
I will avenge my father.
But why does it seem like it's a dream sequence to me? I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not, and we actually get some sort of confrontation with Londi, which we haven't gotten since the beginning of the first game. But we'll have to see. And then it's Bailu Village. I'm seeing this as the very early beginning of the game, where you get out of the cave, you probably spend another day in Shenmue's house, and then you walk towards Bailu Village, and you probably get Shenmue 3 logo before the game actually picks up from there.
Leo, I want to hear more about you.
And then that's it. That's it. That's it. There's a lot to unpack and unravel in this. A lot more questions to ask. And we're going to find out shortly. I mean, it's like about to be 5 days away. It's 6 days as of right now for me, but heck, it's practically midnight East Coast time, so it's 5 days away. But I mean, thank you guys for joining me, my reaction. This is the first time, or by now the second time that I've seen this, so I'm just giving my initial first thoughts. I'll sleep on it and see what else I think about what we've just seen. So what do you guys got to say? I do think this is a real sequence. Londi will be the final boss of Shenmue, according to me. Will not be the final boss of Shenmue, according to me. Okay, that's Legend End. And I don't know. I spoke about this previously, but Londi might... There's more to Londi than just revenge, and I believe that that's going to unravel itself the more we dig deeper into the franchise. Hellhammer says, Ren, open the door quick, it's dying. Okay. So him says, hey, Personal Magnus, have you gotten your tracking number for the game yet? Because I haven't, and I live in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey as well. I have not gotten any tracking. I ordered the game on PC. I haven't been able to download the game on PC. I haven't gotten a tracking number for the PS4 version, which is what I backed and requested. So, and I haven't gone to a store and seen an early copy of the game that I could just pick up. I'm not going to do that. I honestly don't want to break the streak. I actually want to get the game when the game's given to me, because I want to respect that. I want to respect the fact that I get it when I get it on a release date, just like everyone else. And if I happen to get if someone sends me a copy of the game early on, I'm honestly not going to even bother opening it until the day of with you guys, because I want to share that experience with you guys. What do you think the DLC will be about? I'm hoping that DLC is more than just added bonus content, like added minigames, added other stuff. I'm hoping it just opens up more side stories and side quests, but I hope that it's not about unraveling more story or continuing the story, because excuse me, if you pay full retail for the game, then I expect at least the story to reveal itself in the game. But maybe like little side story quests that reveal itself. I would love that. So here's hoping. But I do hope that the DLC content does well for the game as well. Do you think the comics bonus on Shenmue 2 HD are canon? The ones you unlock with the pictures? From Yang93. I do believe that they're going to be canon. I do think that they are canon, even though it's kind of, you didn't see it in the Shenmue H1 and 2 HD re-release as featured content. It didn't even dove into that. And the only way you can really see that content besides YouTube or looking it up online is if you owned an Xbox and purchased Shenmue 2 on the Xbox. You didn't even get that content on Shenmue 2 for the Dreamcast. So, unfortunately, it was very locked away. But I do believe that Yu Suzuki had most of the story pretty much planned out in his head and written a lot of it. So if he put it down to be released to the masses, it's because he had this content planned, the story pretty much unraveled. So he knew what he wanted to represent, because down the line, with this long plan, he knew what he wanted to do with it. So if that was released to at least some sort of audience, that's because it's got to be canon. Okay, have you played Yakuza? I have played Yakuza. I actually have the first Yakuza for PS2. I have Yakuza 5, and I don't know what else I have. But to be honest, I've never gotten through any of the Yakuza games, because I was actually looking for a connection to Shenmue. And the thing that first turned me off to the first Yakuza, which I'm trying to give it a chance. I don't want to dismiss it, but Shenmue 2 had the amazing dialogue with every character in the game that you can approach, and there won't just be text, there'll be actually people talking and real voices that you hear. And then when you go to Yakuza, the first glaring thing that I noticed was the fact that Yakuza, they were just silent with text, and that just pulled me out of the experience. It wasn't as immersive as Shenmue, and that's exactly what I wanted. And even though a lot of the developers from the Shenmue series went on to help out with Yakuza, I didn't. It wasn't from Yu Suzuki what I wanted. So that's that. Let's see. Daniel Belzagi, you think the other games coming out this month, example Pokemon, will affect with sales and attention for Shenmue 3? I think Shenmue 3 has its own garnered audience, and it gets its own special attention. If you've been looking out for Shenmue 3, like for me in particular, the other games are not a distraction, because I know what I want. If you want Shenmue 3, you're going to get Shenmue 3. Now, if you don't know and you're just looking for games on sale, Shenmue 3 is going to take the same spots as, like, for example, Pokemon, or it's going to take the spots of the Death Stranding, for example. So they'll all be next to each other. But if you want Death Stranding, because it's a Hideo Kojima game, you're going to buy that. If you've heard of Pokemon and Pokemon's popular, you're going to buy that. Or if you want Shenmue, you're going to buy that. I don't believe that a Shenmue fan will buy something else because it's on sale at the same time as Shenmue. And for those that aren't aware of the franchise, I don't know if they're going to pay attention to it unless they've heard of it. I think the only people who are going to buy Shenmue are either people who know about it, or parents or others who are like, look at the back of the disc and say, hey, this looks good. Or if it gets prominent placement in the PS4 store. If it does, if it gets prominent placement and it's like hot, as into what's released and what's new now, then it might get some attention, especially if it has high ratings or if reviewers online talk about it a lot. Then that'll affect sales. But as far as competition, when you're releasing video games, you always have competition, no matter what time of the year you release it. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, what else we've got to say? Hellhammer on PC is exclusive on Epic Games. That it will be painful on PC Master Race. Okay. Yang93, what do you think about this marketing support that almost everywhere of Shenmue? I think it's even more than Sega did back in the day. What's amazing, it's funny that you bring that up, Yang, and thank you for that, is marketing is a different territory of what it used to be back in the day as to what it is now. Believe it or not, I learned about the Shenmue franchise thanks to the internet. In the early days of the internet, they did do some online videos for Shenmue, the first one. And it was very, you had to download like QuickTime video files and then play them locally on your computer. Or you had some Dreamcast discs that were released that actually showed some early previews of the game, but it was very difficult to do any advertising aside from the bizarre commercials that they released, and of course in the magazines touting how amazing the game was. I actually had one of my magazines out. I must have put it away, but pretty much advertising front cover, Shenmue, game's amazing. But nowadays what you've had is not only the online advertising of all the reviewers and YouTube and everything, but you also had the time, but the 18 years of fan growth that you were given the opportunity to just become fans of the games. This is, in my opinion, is going to be the most successful Shenmue ever, because not only did you have all that time to build that hardcore audience, but you have these hardcore audience members such as myself. I never worked in a magazine. I never had any contribution to video game development or video game reviewers. No one will hire me to do that type of stuff. But I was given a platform by YouTube to talk about the game, and so many others were and are able to share their passions in blogs and Facebook posts and Twitter posts. We're all able to build that community to make this game as successful as it is. So that in itself is amazing. But you add on the fact that Shenmue is coming out on one of the most successful platforms today, PS4 and PC. So it has the ability to reach the largest audience it ever has had. The original Shenmue came out exclusively on Dreamcast, not on PC or anything else. And Dreamcast had a very limited install base. I think it had, by the end of its life cycle, maybe around 10 million purchasers of Dreamcast. And that's nowhere near what it needed to be successful and actually make a profit. Then Shenmue 2, limited release internationally on Dreamcast, and it didn't even come out in the States. But again, only on Dreamcast. Until it came out for Xbox, a very early release on Xbox before Xbox became popular. And because it was an older game and only on Xbox, it was pretty much shoved aside. And then you had no release up until nowadays, where Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 had the opportunity to be released on PS4 and Xbox, to be released to the masses, but it's an older game that it's not a newer game, so it had aged graphics. Sure, it was able to adopt new fans, but now you had a release last year, and now you had a release this year of Shenmue 3, so it's still fresh in the mind of some new fans. And now it gets released to PC and PS4. PS4, because of that exclusivity deal helped it get some marketing funds and some money. So it had to stay exclusive. I'm sorry, Xbox, but that's the reason why. Because PlayStation gave money to help support Shenmue, where Xbox didn't really. And then the PC platform, which so many users have. And right there you have the opportunity to reach a much larger audience. So that in itself is just amazing. And that's why you have Shenmue with much better marketing, much better publicity than it's ever had in its previous generations. All right, I've been blabbing on a lot there. So, Shenmue 3 cannot be compared to other games. It's a different genre. That's true. It's so many things. It's open world, but it's not open world because it's partially RPG, but it's not RPG. It's partially action, but it's not all action. It's partially just a game in a game with all its mini games, but it's not. It's so many things at once. It's its own thing. But to me personally, it's the story that I've kind of lived through my entire life, and it's affected so many people in so many positive ways, and it's affected me in the fact of I love the storytelling, I love the direction, I love just really the fact I love a good story in a video game, and this just does an amazing job of telling a story that you care about after so many years. And don't even get me started on the music. So it is what it is. People here in New York are already playing Shenmue 3. I know, so many people are, but I'll have to wait and see and find out what it's like when it comes out on November 19th. Now, once again, I want to give a couple of things notice. I'm up to 530 subscribers since my last stream a couple days ago, so thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button. That means so much to me, and I appreciate it so much. And another thing, okay, Yang is interrupting me with an important question, so I'll address it because thank you for showing up. Very important question to me. What do you expect if Shenmue 3 is a total success? To me, we may get a new but also supported by Sega with more content. I totally believe that if Shenmue 3 is successful and pretty much everyone involved, Shibuya Productions, Deep Silver, to be like, Sega, we just made you a bunch of money. Come to the table too if you want to make a bigger percentage of the profits. If not, then you're just going to take a small cut. Sure, they have to pay for the license of Shenmue, but maybe Sega will pony up. Who knows? But that would have to be a huge, major success. So, other than that, again, thank you for subscribing. Also, remember, I've got a huge event planned for November 18th at 11 p.m. before midnight with a bunch of Shenmue content for Shenmue 3 on the lead up and the excitement. But I think I'm done for today. I'm about to head to sleep, but thank you guys for joining me as always. Please give my videos a like. That helps out. If you've already subscribed, you've made my day, you've made my week, you've made my month, you've made my year. But if you haven't, as always, you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. Good night, guys. As always, this was a ton of fun. Take care.